This week's episode of the Pretty Neat Podcast is brought to you by you. That's right, if you'd like us to promote your content or your store, let us know by going to theprettyneatpodcast.com and click in the mailbag. It is the year of hard things, like we were saying.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just telling Aaron, Dom, that's voluntary and involuntary, the year of hard things.
What's the involuntary part?
All the work related things that are imposed upon you.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
All of us, not just me.
All of us. All of us.
All of us.
Work is hard.
Why they pay you?
I guess that's true. Otherwise, it would just be the stuff we do as people.
That's right.
Which, one of the things we do once a week when we can is this show.
It's time for the Pretty Neat Podcast. It's time for the Pretty Neat Podcast.
The Pretty Neat Podcast, that's the show you're listening to. I'm Aaron, one of the three
The show
hosts.
in your ears.
Yes. Listening with your ear holes.
Yeah, about right up in your ear holes.
Yeah.
Trying to get into all those nooks and crannies, the crevasse, the plural.
Yes.
Crevasses, as many
no
as possible.
tongues, though.
No tongues in the crevasse.
Well,
Ian Gary's wife will not be joining us today.
that's right. Yeah.
Heyo.
I wouldn't say she has an open invitation, but it's not a no, if that makes sense.
Yeah, sure. We'd have her on, talk about what it's like to be a WAP or a WASP or whatever
Wag.
they're called. WAG,
A wag.
Yeah.
WAP. I don't know. Isn't
These
she?
are all different things.
I know,
They are.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. The first one you said is like a slur. So,
Yes.
or like at least insensitive.
Or a dewy vagina.
Mm. Dewy, huh?
Dewy. That's on par with moist.
Dewy is worse. And I can't help but think of the decimal system.
The Dewey Decimal System?
Yeah.
Deci and Mal. Did you ever learn that in that'd be what? Middle school probably when you're learning
Probably.
the Dewey Decimal System. I remember my 6th grade teacher, Mr. Tortorella,
Oh,
Dang.
sure thing.
that he taught it as Deci and Mal, and two people, and they're both dots. Fun fact about him, allegedly, not allegedly, because this
Where
ended
could
up
this be headed? Buckle up.
ended up becoming a future relationship, but allegedly the rumor was that he was having an affair with our 6th and 7th grade history teacher,
Oh,
and that I found out years later that they are now together, so I assume that to be true.
Yeah.
Kids, just so you know, your teachers are also human beings and they have urges and desires too. And they don't always make the most fundamental sound of choices.
the issue that I have with what you're saying is that's the field I work in, and I know entirely too much about those things. I can't say anything for fear of losing my job, so I'm just not gonna.
Yeah.
That's probably for the best.
And I had a dad in that environment.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
I was at all of the teacher conference like stuff. I hung out in the faculty room from time to time and was definitely privy to the work gripes of our educators. And it's yeah. Do you watch that show? The show that's about elementary school teachers? My wife fucking loves it.
Hey, no, I don't.
No?
No. And do you want to know why? Because it's not at all how schools operate. And
This I knew.
I do that for somewhere between 45 and 65 hours a week. So
Abbott Elementary is the show you're
Abbott
referring to,
Elementary
right?
is the show you're referring to. Yes, that is.
It's
Thank you.
critically acclaimed.
It is. And more power to it, but not for me.
You know what else is critically acclaimed?
This show.
The Pretty Neat
The
podcast?
Yeah, hosted by
Yes.
Dom, Ryan, and Aaron, us
That's
three.
right.
Go to thepretyneatpodcast.com. Follow us everywhere. Do that. Become a member of the fellowship. And what do you usually say, Dom?
Where we won't ask you to take a ring up a mountain and throw it in fire.
Mm-hmm.
Something about the birds we could have called for at the very beginning and saved a lot of time and trouble, but I don't have mastery of the material to say that.
Eagles.
Sure.
Eagles, Dom, Eagles.
They're large, right?
Quite large.
Okay.
Oh boy. So the Super Bowl was this past weekend.
It was.
It was.
I do believe the only thing we should say is that I think on this show, Ryan and I both said at the end of the day, you either have Patrick Mahomes or you don't. It also turns out you should probably know the overtime rules, but I will be the guy. I'm going to do it. Bill Barnwell is an ESPN NFL writer, a really,
Yes.
really good one. And he's not the type that's like, I'm a casual NFL fan, I'm going to read the Bill Barnwell article. It's more like I am fucking eyeballs deep in NFL and I need everything. That's more what he is. And he said there is no clear strategy advantage to deferring or taking the ball in overtime in the playoffs. He said, one, there's no sample size literally, one, and two, I don't know, he ran through like two paragraphs of variables. So I will defend the 49ers there. I do not think it is as obvious as everyone sitting on their couch with hot wings and beers in hand think it is. Having said that, Kyle Shanahan has proven a thing, and it's that he can't win the big game. He could not beat Sean McVay in the playoffs. He could not beat Nick Sirianni in the playoffs. He damn near didn't beat fucking Matt LaFleur who is the Packers coach in the playoffs, and really should have lost to, is it Dan Campbell? Is that his first name? The Lions coach?
It is Dan Campbell.
Yeah. It really should have lost to him. So in the NFC title game, and he has lost to Andy Reid now twice. So everybody loves Kyle Shanahan. I kind of don't get it. Also, the same Bill Barnwell article had a really interesting Brock Purdy stat where inside of 3 seconds from taking the snap in the Super Bowl, he was like 6 for 8 with a lot of yards, which means his first read was there, his very first option. Outside of 3 seconds, he was like 5 for 19 for not a lot of yards. Now, I don't know what the comparisons like. Every quarterback is going to be worse the further down their option chart they have to get. But my hunch is a guy like Patrick Mahomes is much, much, much better in those instances than Brock Purdy is. So
Nice. I was super impressed by the kicks, by the field goals. Just like there was two
Yes.
Super Bowl records like
Yeah.
set and then broken.
yeah,
Yeah,
within about an hour
longest
of
field
each
goals
other.
made.
Yeah.
That was fucking wild. And
Ryan,
then
what did you think? Oh, sorry, Aaron.
Yeah, no, yeah, go for it. You have a much more adequate
Well, no, Aaron, did you have a take on it other than the field goals?
uh great halftime show.
Was
And
it?
I thought it was good. Usher's fun. It was cool seeing a bunch of mid 40s, late 40s rappers that got popular while we were in middle school and high school.
Yeah.
Still doing their thing. That was fun. Um, at least it was, I mean, the first half was pretty boring, but I mean, I think anyone can tell you that most football games are won or lost in the second half, literally and technically. Um,
Quite
uh,
literally all of them.
Yeah, fair. It's fair
yes.
analysis.
There's the adept analysis of Aaron of the PNP. And I mean, how fun that it would go to overtime and end in the final seconds. I mean, just straight up fun from
Okay.
the halftime show onward, just fun. And even the early commentators before it was starting, uh, talked about just how the Chiefs kick ass in the second half, and that even if the Niners had the lead going into the second half, they'd probably lose it, which is exactly what happened. There's my analysis.
Yeah, it was did you guys know it's the most watched event in television
I
history?
saw that.
No
Over
shit.
123.1 million people watched the entirety of the game,
Yeah.
and they're owing it potentially to the fact that it was on multiple platforms. So
Mm-hmm.
airing on
Yep.
CBS, streaming via Paramount, and also Nickelodeon,
And YouTube.
which and YouTube. If you guys didn't see the Dora the Explorer savage meme after the first quarter, I suggest you look it up. But essentially, in essence, Dora is on the screen and basically saying that both teams need a map to find the end zone after the first quarter, which is just absolutely priceless. And that was one of the highlights. I'm not sure if necessarily like I'm the biggest Usher fan,
Me either.
but watching the halftime show with my family and my mother-in-law, who is a huge like 90s, early 2000s hip hop R&B fan, like that experience of watching and enjoying their response was great. Um, I didn't realize that Usher had his own residency in Vegas, so it
Hmm.
somewhat makes sense on like the choice there in being in Vegas. Also, I gotta say, the man sweats profusely. Like he
He
was putting in
does.
work.
He
He
does.
was
Yeah.
he was sweating quite a bit. He was very well hydrated. Grab it up on Alicia Keys, you know?
Yep.
Hmm.
But
Uh
did you see he got married right after the show?
no, I
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah, he literally went and got married.
To Alicia Keys?
Yeah, no.
No,
No.
she's
To
married to Master Beats or Killer Beats or something like
Swiss
that.
Beats.
Swiss
Swiss
Beats.
Yeah.
Beats. Okay.
Another late 90s, early 2000s guy.
You
Yeah.
know, the halftime show as well, you know, the artist who did the solo, you know, her. You know what
Hmm.
else I know
Mm-hmm.
her from? The nationwide jingle that she does when she was playing acoustic
Ah,
guitar. Do you remember that? I was
yes.
putting two and two together. I was like, man, this is great, but she looks really familiar. Where do I know her from? Oh, the nationwide commercial. Anyway,
There's no way she was actually playing that solo. Like I was watching her hands the whole time. There's no way she was playing that solo. Not saying she couldn't or that it was not pre-recorded and she played it, but there was no way she was playing that solo.
there's a whole
So
debate to be had about just performing in a stadium like that and expecting it to sound good.
Yeah.
That's its whole thing. I mean, when you go to see a band play in a stadium, they have their own sound system and stage and amplifying that sound from that source, not just
mm,
playing over the stadium PA system.
Hmm. Even the drummer was playing electronic drums. I don't know if you noticed
yeah,
that,
I did
but
notice that. Yeah.
they had to. They had to.
And I think that's it, Allegiant is a newer venue, right? I've heard that a concert at SoFi is really good, so I'd imagine these big football stadiums that are also like multi-use venues, whatever you call them, are like pretty tuned, if you will, for concerts because they gotta fill those seats. You can't just have, in the case of SoFi, say you can't just have 16 events per year unless one of the teams makes the playoffs and gets a home game.
Right.
That
Hmm.
it costs way too much money. So,
Yeah.
yeah, breaking fucking news, you got to do stuff in the stadium for it to have been worth the investment. You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah.
Um,
We're
but
for
all that
hire.
to say, I don't know how the acoustics are at Allegiant. I've never been there. I have Aaron, you and I have a mutual friend who went to a college national or a college playoff game there last year.
Hmm.
He said the Wi-Fi is amazing. He said the seating is great. He said the sound system is really good. The sound system at SoFi is good. That's the only thing I can compare it to as far as new football arenas. That's why I keep saying that. So I don't know. I'm not an Usher guy, so
Yeah. Fair. I thought it was great for like a first Vegas Super Bowl, kind of almost
Sure, yeah.
like a handshake hello
Yeah. Yeah, I would
from
agree with
Vegas to
that.
the NFL. They
I would agree with that.
got the Rockettes or whatever they are with the flowers and shit, and the contortionists for like the
Hmm.
Cirque du Soleil aspect. Thought that was all pretty cool.
I think have they announced when it's coming back to SoFi or to they have announced when it's coming back to SoFi, when it's coming
Allegiant.
back to Allegiant?
Not that I'm aware of. Um,
They usually rotate like 7 cities.
do you think that the Raiders, how long have they been in Vegas now?
3, 4 years?
Okay, I was gonna ask if they were gonna have some like wind beneath their wings like the Golden Knights did if this was one of their earliest seasons, but obviously
Probably
not.
not. So the next couple, New Orleans, Santa Clara, which is where the Niners
49ers.
play, then back at SoFi, then back at Allegiant. No, sorry. So the next three have been announced.
They
Oh,
expect that 2028 they will return to Vegas.
That makes sense.
nice. Nice. Well, that's the Super Bowl, unless you
Yeah.
had anything else to add. Of course, when I walked into the office on Monday, um, somebody near me had not watched the Super Bowl, and somebody also near me is a rabid fan of NFL and NBA, and was like, "Yo," somebody asked like who won the Super Bowl, and he was just like, "I heard Taylor Swift won the Super Bowl."
She certainly did. I
Oh,
I incorrectly forecasted that they would go under on the amount of times that she was shown,
What was the
and
number?
6.5.
Oh, you went under that?
Yeah.
Why?
So I don't know. I was overthinking it. Like I'll be candid here. So she put out a statement that she was upset with the amount of, media time she was getting at these
Yeah.
games.
Uh-huh.
And in the first half, they showed her twice. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, I scored. Right. And then as the game became more and more competitive, and by uh, by result of Travis Kelce also making more plays because he had only
Yeah.
caught one catch
Yeah.
in the first half. They
yep,
kept showing her more. And then, like, coincidentally enough, like, she's there with Ice Spice and Blake Lively. And like,
Yep.
these fuckers
yeah,
are not watching football.
No.
yeah,
She
What are
and
they
doesn't
actually
know
doing?
anything about how football works.
Right.
yeah, and
It's
Blake,
very simple to understand, right? Sorry, Aaron. Get the ball from where it is to where the other color grass is. Like, I'm sure she can understand that, but like she doesn't know what the fuck. I don't know. I've reached such a saturation point with her, such a saturation point with Travis Kelsey. I really don't
yeah,
I do every now and then this happens with a celebrity where it's like, why are they everywhere? See, I'm gonna say all of a sudden, I know Taylor Swift has been super famous since she was like 14. Like I'm
mm-hmm.
not saying that. I'm just saying like
She's got
so
new investors.
so let
They
me
gotta get paid.
understand all of these women. Is there some sort of big group chat or something where all of you, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of you globally, if not millions, decided, hey, we are fucking bonk bonkers ape shit crazy for Taylor Swift?
The answer
Like,
is
does a
yes.
does a newsletter go out and you like sign up?
You
I don't know.
do. It's called TikTok.
Is that what
Uh,
it is?
it's TikTok and Instagram. Dude,
Okay.
100%.
I'm not
100%.
on either of those things, so I couldn't tell you.
I'm against I'm against the lack of love for Blake Lively. Because I mean, she's Mrs. Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
And if you're anyone lucky enough to be married to Ryan Reynolds and keep him, has to be a fucking genius. So
Okay.
like
This is a weird take you have, but
so it is a weird
I'm
take. I get it.
listening.
And like, why wasn't Ryan Reynolds there? And if he
Who
was, why didn't they put the
listen,
camera on
listen.
that guy?
I
Fucking Deadpool
listen,
3's trailer dropped,
listen.
and it was amazing, by the way.
If I'm someone who has the means to be in one of those boxes like Ryan, if I'm of the means that Ryan Reynolds is, and I'm going to the Super Bowl and my wife's like, hey, cool, I'm going to hang out with whatever Ice Spice is and fucking Taylor Swift, I'm going to be like, that's really sweet. You can do that. I'm going to go sit over here where I can actually watch the game and not be bothered by you.
Sure, I get that. That's fair. Hey,
Yeah.
and he's more of uh, a soccer fan anyway, as
And
it
like
were.
Jason Kelsey, even it's just a bit much of all of them. And I have thoughts. We don't have to get into them here. Someday the sanctum door will open and we'll explore it. But
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he plays center. Nobody ever cares about the center. And all of a sudden they're like, look at him. He's a world-class athlete and he's so good. And I'm like, is he? Like, fine, yeah, okay. He's very, very good at that position on the field. And I
Yeah.
respect it.
Super Bowl champ.
But, you know, what come on.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
There's way too much investment in personality these days. And I'm pretty sure they used to call that a cult of
Mm.
personality.
The Swifties, I think it's close to
Oh
a cult.
yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. She needs to
It's
like get caught lip syncing on SNL and then
it's yeah, right. It's
botch her career.
certainly a lifestyle.
Yeah. And you're not going to convince me ever that she writes more than 20% of her own songs. That she doesn't need to anymore. She probably jots down a general idea and then gets handed off to a group of writers to be like, these are the words that are popular these days.
I think
This way we can cut it into TikTok videos
yeah,
and
I think everything with her is so meticulously calculated
yeah.
that it's like I just don't believe any of it. But the thing is, it doesn't have to be organic and authentic. They're very simple lyrics, right?
Mm-hmm.
They appeal to ages 7 to 57.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, who's the guitar player you guys are always fucking going on about?
Tim Henson?
Tim Henson. She's not a musician on par with that guy.
Nope.
So, like, not even close. And he will never, ever, ever be as famous as she is. And I don't think he wants to be. So,
Yeah. If there was a UFC fighter that you would say is the Taylor Swift of the
it's Conor
UFC,
McGregor.
it's Conor McGregor.
Yeah. Except she's on a much longer winning streak than he's ever had. So,
Got him.
That's fucking brilliant. I
it's
fucking love
definitely
you.
Conor McGregor. And he's the only one. There will never be another one, you know? There'll be another Taylor Swift. There'll be a Britney Spears again, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing she does that's unreplicable. Irreplicable, is that a word? There's nothing proprietary about her.
Sure. Yeah.
Taylor Swift is not proprietary.
Well,
We need to get the Kirkland version of Taylor Swift.
Oh, it's gonna happen. Is that not what Ice Spice is?
No, because that's more hip hop based.
Okay.
Olivia Rodrigo.
Olivia
is like-
Rodrigo.
she's
Yeah, I was gonna
she's
say.
not She's not Kirkland, right? She's a
Yeah.
step up above Kirkland.
Mhm.
So we'd have
Yeah.
to figure out who is the Kirkland
She
version
is-
of Taylor Swift.
yeah.
All the way on the list, that Olivia Rodrigo. Also, genuinely, one of my cousin's like 5 best friends,
No, that's pretty interesting.
I guess.
I think too, there's a one difference between Taylor and Connor would be the nepotism. Connor does not have
No.
that. She purely
Yeah.
has that. I mean,
I think Connor has it too.
really?
Mhm.
Taylor Swift has nepotism. Who's her father?
Her dad bought the record company or whatever, right?
Yeah, he's a massive producer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're super, super wealthy. They got her in voice training and dance training starting probably when she could walk. She's probably christened by a dance instructor. And yeah, she's 100 not taken away from her talent. Like, I mean, Ed Sheeran was garbage when he started, but then he got 5 years of intense vocal training and became a pretty excellent singer. Anybody
So,
can learn if you do 1,000 hours, the 10,000 hours. She
So
definitely
nobody
got
was
it.
Her dad's a former stockbroker.
Yeah.
So I mean, he made his money and then apparently bought
yeah.
or established the Swift Group,
Yeah.
which is
So
a financial advisory firm.
yeah, so actually I shouldn't say she's a nepo baby in the sense of music industry, but she's a nepo baby in the sense of she comes from wealth, power, and privilege and was put in the position she's in with a ton of financial backing, which you usually have to earn with your reputation, right? So that's what I mean. But
I thought a nepo baby was essentially the children of other famous people and they're following in the same field. Taylor Swift is not a stockbroker.
So maybe not.
She
Maybe not. Maybe she's
she
just the
she
definition
she
of
suffers
privilege.
from affluenza, right? Like she didn't
Okay.
make it on her own. Her parents were very affluent and basically bought things for her. I don't know what the term is for that though.
I love affluenza.
Yeah, it's actually a John McEnroe term. They asked him one time during an interview why his kids weren't as good
American
at
hero John
tennis.
McEnroe.
Yeah, absolutely. And he said they suffer from affluenza. They never had to fight for anything. They never had to earn anything. Everything was given to them.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, corrected. Not an Epo baby, just suffering with affluenza. Suffering with.
Yes, suffering. Yeah, it's it's systemic.
Yeah. Well, I tried to segue us into UFC by asking that question about which
I
UFC
don't.
fighters Taylor Swift.
I know we're gonna
This will be a
side.
quick,
Let me just two more things on Taylor Swift.
of
Okay.
course. It's
At
your
least
show.
for me, and I don't know what happens when you guys do it. But when I start in Google TA, first I get Target Corporation, then for some reason Target Optical, even though I've never once shopped there. The third thing down is Taylor Swift, and then Taco Bell and Talbot's, which I think is a shoe store. So
Yeah.
Is
there
the shoe
there's
store?
there's that. Also, if you Google search Taylor Swift, there's a lot of weird shit that comes up.
Like the autofill.
No, like government psyops and Snopes doing a fact check on if her and Travis are actually going to leave the US if Trump wins. Turns out it's false, I guess. But like
Gotta get the real.
That
what are we
if
even
you
doing?
Yeah,
What are we
the
even doing?
if I type in TA, I get Taylor Swift net worth,
There you
Target
go.
baby registry.
Look, he got Target, Taylor Swift, and Taco Bell too.
Well, I logged
I
out
also got
first.
taboo
Okay.
meaning.
Okay.
Yeah. I logged out first just so that it gave me popular results and not my
That makes sense.
my
I don't
siloed.
understand I understand why Target came up. I do
Yeah.
not understand why Target Optical came up. I did recently buy a pair of sunglasses. Maybe that's it. Not from Target Optical, but
This is what I like.
why is my
There
poop green? Did you see that one?
yeah, it's if why
Fuck yeah.
is
Fuck yeah, people searching for that.
but like I like doing that. Why is Taylor Swift? And you get so popular. Lucky number 13 called
Yeah.
Mother, which is stolen from RuPaul. That's lame. So popular Reddit. Person of the year, favorite number. So tall, so influential, so rich, re-recording her albums.
Yeah, for the rights.
That's the most interesting question on there.
Let's
You know
do
what's it's a very popular tactic now with artists. Not fighting. Why is he famous? Why is this Conor
why
McGregor
is
so rich, so popular, paid so much, called notorious? Why is this cardio so bad? I have those questions too.
yeah. Why is his ear like that? Why fighting at 180? Why called Mystic Mac? So we did the same thing with Conor McGregor. I just wanted to
Why
see
is
if
he
they were
fighting at
comparable.
185? Too many Mexican supplements.
Oh, they were French supplements. Let's be real.
He's just eating the chicken, you guys.
Yeah, chicken and broccoli. Nothing
Oh
to see here.
man.
Move along.
Broccoli is mostly water anyway, you know.
Yeah. Uh UFC Fight Night happened.
It did.
Let's dig into that. Welcome to the recap
Or not.
again. This will be brief because
This fight night sucked.
this fight night was kind of shitty. Um,
Not
I mean,
Danny Gay, I guess.
yeah,
Actually, there's a couple good ones here. Let's go through them. Go ahead.
yeah. I mean, we won't jump into the earliest ones, but I mean, Bogdan Guskov, massive knockout over Zach Pauga, very entertaining. Max Payne Griffin, friend of the show, been on a couple times. We look forward to having you on again. Eked out a split decision against Jeremiah Wells.
As the underdog, you're welcome, betters.
Yep, yep.
We for sure would have told you to take him to win without a lot behind it.
And then you had Loma Look Boon Me, who I just love. Takedown Machine. She's marvelous. Um, oh,
She
what
only had one
else?
takedown in that fight, FYI. So I don't know if machine's the correct term.
Well, I'm thinking of her past fights. I usually thinking about Marab still. Rodolfo Vieira, I
Dude,
nailed
you
the
hit this one.
Scorcher.
You
I
fucking nailed this one.
nailed the Scorcher on another app that we like that will not be named by submission.
Speaking
Uh,
of, did you hear the app that we do like no longer can operate in the state of New York?
I did, and they had
oh
to pay a
Yeah.
wow.
$20 million
Yeah. Turns
penalty.
out can't you can't fight City Hall.
Nope, nope, you can't. This one, I'm gonna actually give some credit where credit is due on the Rodolfo Vieira call, which is to Max Griffin, who pointed out when he was on the show last, when his teammate Anthony Fluffy Hernandez, who's fighting on 298, fought Rodolfo Vieira and beat him. And Rodolfo Vieira is a nightmare submission machine. And I knew Armin Petrosian was not gonna be able to combat that, so I picked him by submission specifically. That prop hit.
That's a
Michael,
great recall by you. That's a
yeah,
deep cut.
yeah. Oh, is it? Do I throw in the deep cut for that?
That's about as deep cuts go. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a great many months since he's been on the show. Friend of the show, welcome back anytime.
Yeah, yeah. Oh boy.
Hey,
Sorry. Nice. Uh, RoboCop beat Brad Tavares. That's interesting, and I look forward to talking about RoboCop's fight against Cody Brundage, who's facing Bo Nickel at 300, of course. I don't
So
expect
he's
a
also been
repeat.
called, I have to say this about Gregory Rodriguez, right? His nickname is RoboCop, but we should be calling him the Brazilian Barack Obama.
no. Don't be his personal chef, if you know what I'm
You're
saying.
not wrong. You're so not wrong. Oh my
I
gosh.
I, I heard that and I just
You can't
I
unsee it
laughed.
now.
I
You
Nope.
audibly
can't unsee
laughed.
it now. Yeah.
Oh man, you can't. But we'll move up. I mean, Dan 50K Ige lived up to his
Yeah.
friggin' name, and I think both of us, Ryan, picked that this just was not going the distance.
Yeah, we had it
Correct?
separate ways. You picked it just under. It's going to be a finish, and I picked Dan Ige for a stoppage, and
Cool.
we both hit.
Yes. And then we all lost our parlays. Everyone. That means
Yeah.
you, the listener.
Yeah.
We all lost our parlays when Jack Hermansson's wisdom and I'm gonna say what's the opposite of recency bias? Delay
Isn't it
bias?
still recency bias?
So maybe, I mean, it's not that Joe Pyfer's been killing it recently, it's that Jack Hermansson hasn't fought in 2 years. Like we all forgot about
Yeah.
how fucking crafty he is, how
He only gets
dangerous
one
he
spot in the
is.
rankings here, by the way,
Oh, really? He only
which
climbed
I
up.
I think says something about his decision to take the fight in the first place.
Yeah,
Mm,
he was
gotcha.
ranked and Joe Pyfer was not. So this was
Yeah.
a big risk for him in the first place.
Hmm.
And a callback, the opposite of recency bias is primacy bias.
Ooh.
People tend to recall the first
Mm.
pieces of information they receive rather than the information encountered later.
Yes.
So
Yes.
primacy bias.
That is
Nice.
so true. Well,
I
but my
love
friend said this. Well, all right, your friend's a fucking moron.
your
Doesn't even
friend
matter
didn't
what
pay
topic we're
attention
talking
in
about.
third grade.
Joe Pyfer, this is an interesting one. So he goes on the big show, right? And
Sure.
then he tells this wild story and really comes off as someone that is, and not to say he's not telling the truth. I believe every word he said. If you guys know what I'm referring to.
No.
Okay, so he went on Joe Rogan's podcast and
Oh,
before this
the-
fight, like 2 weeks ago, and
yes. Same
he
day I saw
has
him.
he has the yes, yeah, he has a crazy story, right? And you hear it and you're like, okay, this is one of the guys. He's like, this is Darren Till from a couple years ago. This is maybe Bo Nickel now. He's maybe in. Let's see if he's in that category. And then he just could not close the show. And as the rounds went, Jack Hermanson got better. And it's that measuring stick moment.
Hmm.
And now, if you're him, you're probably prelims on a fight night.
Probably, maybe even featured prelim, and still gonna
On a
be.
fight night, though, not you're not on a numbered card.
Oh no, no, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right. And uh, I think this will be a good opportunity for him to grow. I would not take him out of future contendership because Jack Hermansson's gonna be too old. He's not gonna be a champion. I could see Joe Pyfer getting this fight back in a year, 2 years,
Okay.
maybe 2 years. for something in the top 10 if Jack Hermansson's still floating around up there.
Yeah.
Um, and he looked great in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a little bit of gas
Give
and
me the first
didn't,
round stats really quick.
yeah, 24 to 16.
Yeah.
Rocked him once or twice too. It
Mm-hmm.
looked like his left was gonna work, but once Jack Hermansson started rolling his shoulder, nope, wasn't gonna happen. Even when Jack Pfeiffer landed it on him, it wasn't nearly the impact. He lost a lot of it in the blocking by Jack. And yeah, those fucking leg kicks too. My God,
Mm-hmm.
Pfeiffer's leg looked like fucking spaghetti. So, hey, you'll get it back, dude. Time to grow. 2024 is the year of hard things.
It is the year of hard things.
And now it's time for the Pretty Neat Podcast picks.
I want to preface that I don't want to make picks for this card. I mean, I'm down to, I don't want to be glued to the main card. Like,
Okay.
there's so many things up in the fucking air with some of these fights that are just pick'ems that it
And,
hurts my brain to
and
even think of five or six.
I think I can get there with you. The problem is we could waste a lot of time trying to choose six things to pick.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we should just go featured main card and just live by the sword, die by the sword. Maybe if we want Justin Tafa, Rogerio de Lima or something. Um, I don't know. That seems like one we if we can we get that less than 7.5 minutes?
Yeah, maybe we can swap out the Rogerio de Lima Jaffa fight for with like the Whitaker Costa fight. Like I
Oh,
don't
you don't want to pick even on that.
I'm still for the conversation, and y'all are so good at selling me. If I was an Eskimo, you could sell me ice.
Okay, so the De Lima Tafa fight, the over under is 4.75 minutes.
Oh my gosh. That yeah. Fucking assholes.
Um,
Stupid odds
yeah, Marcos
makers.
averages 612 and Justin averages 452.
Jeez. Well, let's kind of start at the
That's not a bet
bottom.
we can win, boys. I'll tell you
No.
that much right now. That is not a bet we can win.
Yeah, if there's a is there a this does not go the distance option? Because I'll take that prop.
There is not.
Oh God. Assholes. What about six strikes? Ugh. Excuse me.
Um, yeah, 19 and a half, which is
Okay.
also the correct number.
Uh, I
And the
assume,
fantasy score is 80.5. They're basically like one of them is going to knock the other one out. Which one do you think it's going to be?
yeah. If I had to pick, it would be that Tafa knocks out Rogerio. I mean, Rogerio did just get finished by Derek Lewis via flying knee and a flurry of punches, but he
Mhm.
was not out cold. He's older. He's slow. Tafa is also
Because
slow.
when I look at Justin Taffa, I think speed. He is fucking Lightning
Yeah.
McQueen.
I think Mini Mark Hunt.
Mini. Don't ever say mini again.
Mini in terms of age.
Yeah.
Um, but damn. Uh,
I are there is that were there numbers that jumped out at either one of you?
numbers for any of the picks?
Yeah.
You know what? Let me bring it up on here.
Not like we've been crushing it. So Miranda Maverick is back for her ninth fight this year.
Is it?
I don't
Uh,
think it is. It feels like she fights a lot. We haven't seen her since
what am I
July,
doing?
but well, she fought in June and July last year. Maybe that's why, and she
Let's
lost both
just bring
fights.
this up. All right. Um, anything that's jumping out at me numbers wise? Uh, you wise folks, I think would go over on significant strikes for Amanda Lemos. Uh,
Why do you think
Yeah,
that?
I would agree to that because Mackenzie takes a punch pretty well. I think
Mm-hmm.
Amanda runs over Mackenzie. I think Mackenzie
Hmm.
is getting worse.
Yes.
She seems to be.
Yeah, Andrade battered that
So
poor woman.
3.54 per minute. She averages 9 minutes of fight time. What was the number?
Um,
43?
Yeah,
Significant strike scares me just because it seems to be an opinion, and sometimes they'll give him 88, and sometimes it's like, all right, cool, he ended that round or that fight with 19, but 171 strikes thrown.
yeah. I hit it on Rodriguez last week because it was 68 significant strikes, and Brad Tavares and him, I knew they were gonna throw down, and he ended up closing with 81.
Hmm.
So it was pretty close there. But if he had finished Brad and a round earlier, never would have hit that, and he probably could have given the right night. Um, let's take a look. More fight times. That Zhang Min Yang 4 minutes is interesting.
that's a light
Brandon,
heavyweight. I think
okay.
like we should
That,
focus on people that we think are going to win. Yeah,
Mm,
yeah,
that
that's
feels
over
low.
almost 3.5. Yeah, that's 3.5 rounds.
That feels low.
that feels low. And I'll like Alexander Volkanovski for 17 and a half minutes. My prediction in this fight, even though we'll certainly talk about it more, is that Volkanovski will finish Ilia Topuria in the fourth round.
You think so?
I
Ooh.
do. I do. And I think it will be a head kick followed up by a flurry of punches.
Oh wow.
Go that far. Anyway, let's look at the whole card since we're getting into these deets. Miranda Maverick, like you were saying, Andrea KGB Lee. Uh, I think that's going to be a fun fight. I think that's a good fight to open it up on. I think it'll go to decision, and I think Miranda Maverick will win. That's all I have to
Okay.
say. She's been able to focus on MMA now that she's finished school. Isn't she Dr. Maverick now?
No, no, don't say that. Don't ever say that again.
Either way, she finished school, which has
Yeah,
been
I
a
think she is Dr. Maverick.
No, she is
yeah,
not.
yeah, she is. I'm almost.
Doctor of what?
Wasn't she doing like biology of some kind, Ryan? We want to look that up.
Mm, yeah, let me get you the answer on that one.
Uh,
Miranda Maverick.
uh, PhD student.
Industrial and organizational psychology.
There you go.
Hmm.
Yeah. And she finished it, Norfolk, Virginia, PhD. There it is. And she finished that, so she's been able to focus on fighting. And anybody who has the fortitude and grit to nail a doctorate that's not
At
honorary
26,
at
no
26.
less.
Like my sister, she got hers at I want to say like 39,
Yeah.
38. My dad got his early.
I'll be trending into my 40s.
Yeah. You're gonna be a good doctor. You're gonna be the
That's
new good
damn
doctor.
right. I will write you a prescription
For educational
for learning.
something.
Yeah.
But yeah, good for her. I think that if she's been able to focus that into fighting, that Andrea KGB Lee's in trouble. Then we get Val Woodburn's hey, thank you for fighting Bo Nickel on short notice fight and against Oban Elliott. So two kind of comparable young guys with reasonable records. Exciting. Uh, I have no call on this one other than what I've saw about Val Woodburn looked terrible, but he was undefeated before Bo Nickel. He just fought a bunch of
Yeah.
old guys.
Oban is a pretty big favorite. He's a minus 310 right now.
Oh,
Do you have
damn.
any interesting numbers on him?
Let's take a
Uh,
look.
so he's young, 26. Um,
Hmm.
he's looking like he's heavy on the grappling. He's averaging 4 takedowns um over his career, 9-2.
Mm-hmm.
So he has only had one fight, and that's been in Contender Series, which was a majority decision. He's going the distance in 4 of his last 5 fights. right? So do we think it's
You think it gets into the third
takedown
round?
city, control? So we go 10 over 10 on the fight time. I feel pretty good about that. I'll also say on the prelims, there's one that's really standing out to me. He's a minus 1300, which is Rinya Nakamura.
Yep, I knew it was going to come up. Yep.
And Rinya is the guy who won the first
Road to
Road to
UFC.
UFC,
Oh, nice. Okay.
which he's coming out of
so
Japan in bantamweight. What's interesting is like he was knocking fools out during the road to the UFC, and in the final fight, I believe he had some type of injury and ended up winning by decision, if I'm not mistaken. And then I'm gonna take a look actually
I think it was a
because
submission.
Here's what we all know is true, and they
No.
won't get above featherweight probably, but the more the Japanese are going to take over these lower weight classes. It's just a
I
matter
mean,
of
if they
time.
continue to
It's
put
just a
out like
matter of time.
Decision.
quality talent, they're very well rounded. That's
I
the
want
thing.
I want
They're
one of them to have a
extremely
name
well
named
rounded.
Bushido.
Bushido.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we
So
take
yeah,
the
I was
over on
wrong.
Oban.
Over on fight time?
Is
Yeah.
I'm
What
good with over on fight time.
Yeah.
what were
I
you
think
wrong about?
that's where my head's going.
Yeah, we can always remove it
Rinya
too.
knocked out. Rinya knocked out the guy in the championship fight for Road to UFC.
Hmm.
Why didn't he come up?
Where are you seeing the minus 1300?
ESPN.
Okay. UFC doesn't have odds posted.
No.
Probably because
No, it's because
minus
they have
1300.
a last minute replacement, Carlos Vera.
Yep.
Carlos Pequeña Vera. So check this out. He's never fought in the UFC. He's 36, fighting at 135.
Oh my gosh.
Clearly
This
we
is
got
to
to
make
take
a star.
Nakamura.
Yeah, they're trying to
So-
make a star.
Yeah, Rinya, 9.75 minutes fight time, 2.5 takedowns, 112 fantasy score, 37.5 significant strikes. 112.5 rather, fantasy score.
Of
Yeah, I like the
these,
under on the
what were you
under on
going
the
to say?
fight time as well.
Ooh, Rinya's a grappler.
I was about to say, I think this is under on the fight time.
That's what I
Yeah.
said.
Yep. Cool.
Yep. I got
So
you.
that's our
I'm with you.
preliminary pick. I'm sure we'll just go through and remove the ones we're less sure about as we work into the main card. And Zhang Min Yang, Brandon Ribeiro. Um, I think Zhang, the Mountain Tiger. That's a good name. I like
That's a good
that.
name.
I don't
Uh,
want him to be called it though.
Fair enough. Josh Quinlan looks like a guy I work with named Greg. Danny
Yeah, so
Barlow.
a lot of these are pretty close odds, right?
Yeah.
Like even the Justin Tafa, Marcus Rogerio de Lima, that's a minus 150 plus 125. That's tight.
Mhm.
Quite like a tiger.
Like a mountain tiger. Yeah.
That deserves a deep cut for the Austin Powers reference.
Do tigers really live in the mountains?
Sure. The base of the Himalayas would be my guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
I think like the minus 130 for Amanda Lemos, I don't know why that line is so close. I think she steamrolls Mackenzie Dern.
I think you're right. Where can I
Like,
find
where can I find the nearest
the
place
odds?
to wager on this?
What are we talking about?
Amanda Lemos and Mackenzie
Yeah.
Dern.
Yeah.
They just want
So-
Mackenzie Dern to be.
It's because
They
she's
want
hot.
her,
That's
yeah.
why.
They want her to be good. She's kind of lost right now since she stopped with Ruka, right? With
Mhm.
Jason Perillo, and now it's her second fight camp with this. Just didn't look great.
Yeah.
And she's
Yeah.
also I believe she's also a last minute replacement as well, right? Because this was supposed to be a Jessica Andrade fight, or is a
No.
Lemos the replacement?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't
Like-
know. Well, Mackenzie already lost to Andrade. She got
Yeah.
destroyed. Lemos' last fight was Valentina beating the shit out of her. If I'm not
Lemos lost against Zhang Weili,
Zhang Weili. I'm sorry.
which
thank
was
you.
it was an ass kicking, but it went all
Yes, it
5
was.
rounds.
Yeah, and I feel like if Amanda Lemos is gonna do anything, it's gonna be train grappling, which is great against Dern, but she doesn't need it because she's such an amazing striker.
No,
You're an
absolutely. She's
amazing
got
striker.
power. She's got power. Mackenzie Dern does not know how to take people down. When she does find her way to the mat, she is obviously dominant, but she has no she's got no real skills to like force a takedown. I'm sorry to say that. Like
They want her to be Paige Van Zant, and she's not.
her takedowns have to be on point, and unfortunately they're not for her to employ her biggest strength, which is jujitsu. She can't do it.
There you go.
She is well, we all know what I'm thinking. So let's just move on.
On the
The
list.
the Lemos bets here, 43 and a half significant strikes, 10 and a half minutes, 75.5 on the fantasy score. I don't know. Those all kind of feel right where they should be
I
because
wish
it's
there were
not, she's not
percentage
gonna just
takedowns.
steamroller. That's not gonna happen.
No,
Probably not.
I think Mackenzie takes a punch well, right? She can wear it, and she's going to continually go for takedowns. I think Amanda piles up the strikes. I
Over
think
on the
she
six
goes over.
strikes.
I think she goes over.
I do
Okay.
too.
I'll take it
I
with
do
you. That's fine.
too. And I mean, um, Dern got knocked down multiple times
When?
by Andrade. At
You
least
sure?
3 or 4 knockdowns.
You sure?
But yeah, oh yeah, yeah. It was like it was just bad. It was hard to watch. Um,
Um, Four knockdowns. You are sure. Good Lord.
yeah, yeah. It
Um,
was it was rough.
three
So
of them coming in round two.
yeah, I'm right there with you, Ryan, on the significant strikes.
All right.
Um, if we were going any other way, I think it would be over on the fight time. I don't think that Amanda Lemos is going to finish Dern the way Andrade does, just because she doesn't hit as hard. Um, and I think that she'll be more willing to grapple
That kind of goes
than,
hand in hand with the significant strikes, though.
yeah,
Obviously, the longer the fight
It does.
goes.
yeah. So
Yeah,
more.
just my final point with Mackenzie Dern not being able to take people down. Her takedown accuracy, 14%.
Ugh, that's terrible if you're a jujitsu fighter.
Is it good if you're anyone?
Yeah, it's bad for everybody.
Yeah. It's good for me,
It's,
which I'm
I was
sitting
gonna
at a
say, it's
solid 2%.
bad for you, bad for me, bad for the American people.
You could take me down with too much Hawaiian barbecue. Like, and Ryan knows this fact.
I hear, yeah,
it's
well,
delicious barbecue.
Yes.
so at work today, you guys know hard 75 hard, right? Get it right. And
Hmm.
I'm talking to myself there and the year of hard things. I have been so committed to the diet. Today, there was a potluck at work. It was pasta, a pasta potluck. And shocker, doesn't fit my diet. But there were also delectable breads and all kinds of desserts. And you know what? I didn't even want it. I didn't even
Props to you.
I didn't even have the urge when I saw it.
Hell yeah.
Nice. On the other hand, I walked in yesterday to the office and there were red velvet cupcakes. So that was my
Mhm.
breakfast.
Okay. This is a bran muffin that I
Yeah.
have here.
I did do 2.5 miles. I've done 4 miles on the treadmill in the last 24
Hey,
hours.
nice.
So I
I'm
have
trying to
been
convince my
beefing
wife to
that
let
up.
me buy a Peloton treadmill.
Hey, nice. That'd be cool.
Yeah, they're like 6 grand. So which is twice what the bike was. But I'm like, but babe, the one subscription we pay for, I'll get both devices. She's like, not for 6 grand.
Yikes.
Okay, well.
Yikes. Um, all right, moving up the card, we move into actually
Friend of the show, Anthony Hernandez and
yeah.
Roman Kopylov.
And which by the way, that Amanda Lemos is more or less kind of our first lock of the six pick this week is that she will get more than 43.5 significant strikes. Anyway, yes, of a friend of the show, Anthony Fluffy
Friend of the
Hernandez.
show. So I can't think of Roman Kopylov without thinking of the word copulate. So,
Okay.
which is
He is a
com-
wrestler.
comes from the word origin copulot, which means fastened together. Heyo. And well, it's 12 points in Scrabble, which is also a thing Google will show you. Good for you, Google.
I kind of like Hernandez in this. Looking at the odds on it, where are they on here? Oh,
Ooh,
he's a minus
Fluffy's a minus
250.
250.
is
Yeah.
he?
Yeah, he's a minus
Okay.
250. That actually surprises me a little bit in that, Kopylov is a very, very skilled fighter,
So I'm sorry. I just had a thought and I have to say
training
it
in the
because
mountains.
I think it's relevant. Do you guys think that Dana White wishes he could flip flop 299 and 300? The cards anyway.
At this point, probably.
Because have you guys seen the Game of Thrones South Park where
Yeah.
they go to George R. R. Martin's house and he orders a pizza? He's like, yeah, the pizza's coming, but first, and he's like, it's all
This
about
wiener.
dicks or whatever. Yeah, wieners, thank you. And I feel like 300, Dana White keeps going, oh yeah, we got a big announcement coming, and then John Jones is like, well, I turned a fight down, and everyone's like, well, there's no way it's Connor at this point.
No, it's gonna
Um,
be Leon Bilal too.
that
That's my prediction. And then what
and
an
and can
underwhelming.
I make a prediction? No one's buying that pay-per-view. Um,
They're gonna blow it on
also,
He was
299.
gonna announce the main event at 298's post show.
yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
298 though doesn't have a lot of odds on the fights. It's a card that feels a little bit thrown together. There's a lot of fights on here that it's like, why are we having this fight? What
Yeah,
is this for?
yeah. I
The
think it's
Anthony
contract
Hernandez,
fulfillment.
probably, right? The Anthony Hernandez Roman Coppola fight is not one of those.
Mm-hmm.
But the Marab Cejudo, it's like, who is this for? Jeff Neal, Ian Machado, Gary, why? Robert Whitaker, Paulo Costa, why are we doing that? And why is Alexander Volkanovski getting back in there so quickly? Like a lot of it to me just doesn't. It kind of doesn't feel right. And then the ticket prices were so astronomical. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's something's off,
I think
and they
it
have not come down. Shit, $360 to sit all the way up there, which is fine. Not a bad seat at Honda Center, Ryan's favorite venue. But the fact of the matter, right, Ryan? The fact of the matter is,
we've sat up there.
yeah, no, it's actually a good venue. I just 300. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I even wore my UFC 270 shirt for this episode
Nice.
in
First time it's been
in
back. I haven't. I saw Adam Sandler there, but I have not been
yeah.
back otherwise.
It's my recognition of the great adventure that we had there
That's right.
for Ngannou and Gone, right? Yeah, that was
When Cyril
Ngannou.
was robbed.
Yes.
Just saying, if
Um,
we're following the rules.
yeah. Um, anyway, yeah. Well, I mean, there's a couple of things that make sense on throwing this card together, like the Jeff Neal Machado Gary one. This was
Well, that was a
supposed
rebook, right?
it's a
Mm-hmm. But it
rebook
was supposed to be Neil
of
Magny
no, it was supposed to be
or
Vicente
Vicente
Luque.
Luque. That's
It
right.
was a rebook of a cancellation. So
Mhm.
like it's and then Jeff Neal and Machado had some beef on the socials because uh Ian Machado Gary like told Jeff in a DM on Instagram, stay healthy, we're gonna put on a war, and then 2 days later was wearing Jeff Neal's mugshot on his shirt like a dickhead, and I I do not I don't care for Ian McGarry. Like we know that.
You
I
don't?
think I've
I
expressed that
thought you
enough.
liked him. Where did I get that?
No, I don't
Okay.
particularly like him. I'm not saying he's a bad fighter, but I mean
He's a really good fighter.
he's gym hopping like crazy.
Is that true?
Yep. The
That
It's
is true.
not
people
it's
the pe
not how embedded makes it look.
That's what's bothering me so much is that
Oh,
he's only
fair.
been
Okay.
training down there
That's
for
fair.
a few months. And he treats it like they are his savior. And he's moving to Brazil now, and he wants to live and die there. That's his words, not mine. And I'm just like, no. Like every gym you've left, the people that you've abandoned at that gym have said you're an asshole. And for lack of a better word, like a future has been, like never was. It really, and I actually think Jeff Neal's gonna win this. I really do. I think he feels the angst. I think he's got the a history of doing very well. He almost went 3 rounds with Shavkat. Like he hit Shavkat a number of times before he got submitted in that really awkward submission. And believe it or not, Jeff Neal barely has the reach in this fight, despite being 4 inches shorter. He's got that ape index that's working for him. And I love that against somebody like Ian Gary, who sticks his fucking chin out in every fight. Every fight, he sticks his chin out. And I think Hands of Steel will live up to his name in this
You,
fight.
okay.
We totally skipped over the fight
I
before
love
it.
when you do this. You make you're like, good point, good point, good point. And also he's gonna win, which we all know he's not. Hey, you want to know something funny? You know what? We'll
I
talk
love
about it later.
I love you, Dom.
We'll talk about I love you too. We'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later. I'm getting excited for baseball season, guys.
Yeah, yeah, we'll talk about that later
It's
too.
gonna be a fun 64 win Angel season. And for $50 on theangelshop.com or shop.mlb.com/angels, you can get a Lucas Giolito jersey, which I think to wear ironically would be fucking hilarious. So I'm thinking about doing it.
I fucking love it.
I gotta get
Uh,
a baby size one. And they're harder to find than you would think.
yeah. So on the picks, we never nailed a pick for Fluffy Hernandez and Roman Kopylov. So the options are 38.5 significant strikes, 9.75 fight time, or 2.5 takedowns. Are we going to one of our previous picks in this one's place? Because I don't like any of these. I'm
I don't like any of the options on this.
I'm
Like
fine with that.
Anthony is heavy on the takedown averages, but I just looked at Kopylov's takedown defense. It's 92%.
yeah. Good luck with that.
So
Hernandez
I
did submit Rodolfo, so
that's impressive, right?
there's no fight score here though, which is the only thing that would lead me that
Yeah,
way.
I think we abstain on this one. It's going to be a good fight, but I don't know how it's going to go.
All right, abstain. We are abstaining from the Fluffy Hernandez Roman Kopylov pick, although we do believe Hernandez will likely win.
We're pulling for Fluffy, but we don't know.
There we go. That brings us up to Merab Dvalishvili, number 2 at bantamweight against number 3 at bantamweight, Henry Triple C Cejudo. We have to talk about the Cejudo coach nonsense that they decided to pull, which was revealed on Embedded today to have been a joke, by the way. If you haven't watched Embedded
I
today,
have not. It's a nighttime thing for me. Fill me in.
well, effectively, Henry Cejudo on the Countdown show for 298 fired his longtime coach. That's his second Olympic trials, on camera. And then a few hours later, that said coach was spotted with Marab, and it was going around that he had joined Marab's camp, which, A, no, not within a week of the fight. That is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. Number two, the only reason I would see that happening actually is if Henry Cejudo was literally just trying to get the scoop on Marab and then bring it right back to Cejudo, um, which is so ridiculous that it would not even, it's too ridiculous for Cejudo. But on Embedded today, um, Cejudo confirmed that it was a joke. Even in front of Alexander Volkanovski while they were signing posters together, um, they were talking about it, and Volkanovski was like, "If that's true, you would have been the biggest piece of shit." And I did say that. And he's like, "No, no," and they posed for pictures. He talked about he was the best coach ever, and that is definitely not a thing. Um, One thing I like about this that was pointed out that I hadn't considered is Henry Cejudo's last fight was against Aljamain Sterling, also out of Ray Longo. So he's
Mhm.
fighting back-to-back Ray Longo's gym fighters. And I like Marab. That's all I'll say while I bring up the picks and you guys
I don't know how
extrapolate.
many guys I would pick Henry to beat.
Yeah, he's 37. And this is his second fight back after a 3-year
Shit.
absence from the sport.
Yeah.
So I like Marab too. Here's the thing, right?
Mm,
You tend to order the Dvalishvili, as a matter of
I
fact.
do. I do.
delicious.
Connoisseur of the Dvalishvili a la mode.
Is it garlicky at all, or
No, it's nutty. It's a little nutty.
It's a little nut.
I
It's
don't
earthy.
I
It's
don't get
earthy.
that. I
Yeah,
don't
it's
get
earthy.
that.
So
Not
the
girthy though, or yes.
Earthy and girthy. The
earthy and
Marab
girthy.
Davalishvili.
It's got some heft to it.
He is Georgian.
Wow. Yeah.
Anyway,
You immediately go, oh, Marab's a takedown machine, but his last fight was a 5-rounder, so don't use that as an example. But prior to that, he fought Jose Aldo, right? And that was a 3-round affair
hmm
where he landed a shitload of strikes. He
hmm
also went for 16 takedowns, and guess what? He got 0 takedowns.
against
So
Aldo.
against Aldo, right? And we're talking about going against Cejudo, who is an Olympic champion wrestler.
hmm
So I like, not to say to bet the under on the 3.5 takedowns, because I don't like that either, but I do like the above 61.5 for significant strikes.
I think that's fair because even with his age, Henry is still very fast for his size. He's very durable. I don't think anybody's going to argue that. I could see this being 3 rounds of a slugfest with some
Yeah, I was
grappling
looking for
breaks.
something that would be fight time, but alas, they're not going to give that to us because
They
I think that
know.
goes the distance.
Yeah. I'm with you on more than 61.5 significant strikes for Merab Dvalishvili.
Mayrab.
Yep.
Dom?
I'm with you.
Okay.
I
Awesome.
don't I don't have a lot of I don't have a lot to say about Henry Cejudo. He has reached also, I think, a point of maybe saturation is not the right word, but I don't.
Yeah. He's got the age, ring rust. He's getting moldy. He's a little dewy.
Moldy.
Yeah.
He's a little dewy.
It's got some dew on him.
Um, then we move in to Jeff Hands of Steel Neal versus Ian Machado Gary. And I'm presuming Ian Gary is the favorite in this fight, although I have not looked at the odds.
He
He
is.
is.
He's a slight favorite. Well, I shouldn't say slight. He's a minus 240 right now.
Hmm.
But I'm with you, Aaron. I think Jeff Neal will win this fight. Uh,
Ooh,
Hmm.
that
but
surprises me.
I don't want to pick it.
And you know what? That does not surprise me, and I love you for it because I'm kind of in the same boat. Um,
It would be fight time if it was anything.
Agreed. It would be over on the fight time.
Yeah.
I think so also, which on Ye app that shall not be named is 12 and a half minutes. Um, yeah, yep. I I don't have anything really to say on it. I think that Jeff Neal is way underrated.
We just saw this with Neil Magny, except that Ian Gary is better than the guy that had Neil Magny in there with.
Yes. Yes. You are absolutely right, Mike Malott.
Yeah, thank
Um,
you. Yeah, his name.
yeah, I think Ian
New
Gary,
Darren Till. We'll call him that.
yeah, I think Ian Gary is too focused on being the best fighter and he's not focusing on a specific attribute or fighting style long enough to become a master at it. He's got
Hmm.
a very wide ocean, but it's 2 inches deep, right? Like
That's what she said.
that's what his
Got
wife's
a wide ocean.
You got a
his
fucking
wife,
wide
like throwing a
ocean.
hot dog down a hallway. His
A
wife's
wide
just
a
throwing a hot
wide
dog.
Frank ocean. He's a singer.
I like it. Um, um,
That's so good.
and yeah, so the future rests in Jeff Neal's hands in this case. You like that? You like that?
Frank Ocean
Because
is 36.
thank you.
Then
So
his
we're skipping the
hair
pick.
in some of these pictures.
Next co-main event, middleweight. Finally, not a middleweight fight in the Apex. I'm happy that this is in a large octagon and not the smaller octagon. For Robert Whitaker and Paulo Costa, number 3 versus number 6.
Have they fought before? Is that what you're referring to? And I just don't know that.
No, just that the Apex has a smaller octagon
Yeah,
than the arenas, and the
I know.
last two cards have both been middleweight headliners. That's all.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I hear you.
Just
Okay.
just watching middleweights
Yes.
fight in a tiny arena is doesn't seem as exciting to me. The bigger fighters, at least it makes them more prone to clinch instead of find range. And Robert Whitaker, I
Slight
forget how
favorite.
big he is. I forget how big
I feel like he's short, but he's not.
he's not. It's just because he fought Izzy so much, and Izzy's so tall and lanky. I think. But like they are so close, they're 1 inch different in height. Robert Whitaker has the reach in arms and legs. Um, Whitaker coming off the loss to Dricus, which to me is a little concerning considering Paulo Costa is a little bit like Dricus du Plessis.
What odds could I get on one of the two of them missing weight?
Ooh,
I mean, it's only Paulo missing weight.
I just
I
said one
don't
of the
think.
two of them.
look at that.
Oh, one of the two. Okay.
Paulo's last win
Yeah,
was
that's
against
it's
aged Luke Rockhold.
I'd say that's probably a -200.
Really? You think it's a favorite to happen?
It hasn't Paulo. Well, he doesn't have a
I
history of missing
I think
weight.
it'd
He
be
has a
like a
history of pulling
plus
out
250.
fights. Okay.
Hmm. Anyway,
I think one of them's going to miss weight. There, I said
uh,
it.
I wouldn't be
Isn't
surprised.
that tomorrow?
If it's Whitaker, it's because he played too many video games with his dad.
Friday.
Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah, Whitaker. Yeah, he's sitting on his ass too much playing video games.
Yeah. Uh, that all of this being said, Robert the Reaper Whitaker is the favorite over Paulo the Eraser Costa.
These
And
numbers are correct too, aren't they? Good Lord.
these numbers, these betting options,
Almost
63.5
like they
significant
don't want us to
strikes,
win any money.
14.75 minutes, and 87.5 fantasy score.
Yeah.
It's almost like they
How
don't
many
want us to
fights do
win.
we have picked right now? What are we,
We
five?
have 5 picked right
Five. I
now.
only have
Jesus
4.
Christ.
Who
We
did
had
I miss?
Oban Elliott more than 10 minutes, Rinya Nakamura. I already put
Amanda and
Alexander
Marab.
Volkanovski
Oh,
on
okay.
there. That's
Okay.
why. So anyway, yeah, this is a rude fight. So I'm all for not making a pick on this fight.
Oh,
Okay, so here's what I'm gonna say. I would rather pick the Ian Gary Jeff Neal fight over on Fight Time than any of these.
yeah?
Yes.
Wow.
Huh.
What's the fight time on Ian Gary? I thought it was 14.
It
12,
was 12
12 and
and
a
a
half.
half.
And you think it
I'll
will go over?
I do.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm
So,
I'm I'm not too far away from you there.
okay. I over
It's
12
not
and
a
a half
great pick. I don't
minutes.
love it, but I think Ian
Ah,
Gary is going to win.
I think that's a good pick if you think Ian Gary's going to win. My thing is, I think Jeff Neal, if he catches Ian Gary, it's going to be in the end of the first, which would
Hmm.
put it under. Hmm. I mean, I'm for it. I will go the 2 out of 3 outvoted on Ian Gary, and we won't pick Whitaker Costa. For it? All in favor?
All in favor.
Awesome. We got it. Who do
So,
you think's gonna win with Bobby Nux though, and
I think
Costa?
Whitaker's gonna win.
yeah, I think Whitaker's going to win too.
Costa, his last fight was against
Aged Luke Rockhold.
Yeah, Luke Rockhold, and
Super
that's a
washed.
shit fight.
Shit fight. It ended with Rockhold on top, bleeding all over Paulo Costa's gassed
Oh,
out face. It's
yeah,
Wow.
disgusting.
you can't do that against Bobby Nux.
No, no, you cannot. And I think Knuckles will just play this smart and show his caliber. Amen. Dom, you picked Robert Whitaker also?
Yeah. I
Hmm.
I don't care for Paulo Costa.
Fair, fair. We done. We got it. Last fight, the main event of the evening,
Mm,
the year of hard things,
mm,
is being expressed to both of these men in
mm.
2024. Um, we did already make our initial pick of over 17 and a half minutes, which I'm like really glued to that. I really think that's a good pick for this. Um, I think Ilya's gonna try really hard. I think it's gonna be a great fight, but Alexander Volkanovski, his last two fights were up a weight class, fighting
Mm,
Islam Makhachev, who is better than Ilia Topuria.
no, he had a fight in between there.
Yeah, he beat
Oh, that's right.
Yair
uh Yair.
Yair for the interim. That's absolutely right. And
stopped him late in the third.
Yair got stopped. Thank you. And Yair said Ilia Topuria is fucking crazy if he thinks he's actually going to go out there and dominate him. And that Yair will be
He is
waiting for Ilia after he loses.
he is certainly not going to go out there and dominate him.
No,
That does
no.
not happen to Alexander Volkanovski. And I would even argue Makachev in the second fight didn't dominate him. He caught him with a head kick.
Yeah.
And
And it
he
was
took
on
that
11
fight on
days.
10 days notice, 11 days notice, and
Yeah.
he was up a weight class. So,
Yeah. And he
you
was
know,
drinking 4 days a week, as he
hell yeah.
said, leading up
Hell
to
yeah.
that fight. Like, not once the fight was announced and he agreed to it, but before
Right.
that, he was in limbo. He didn't know what he was going to do. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I think Volkanovski, despite all the age bullshit, which he responded to so well. Did you see the video he put out?
No.
Yes.
Oh my God. Okay.
The advertisement where he's
Yeah.
like pretending to be an old man.
Yeah, and it's like straight out of vintage ESPN
It is.
commercials.
Like offering them hard candy and telling them to take off their shoes when they come inside.
Yeah, you have to watch this, Tom.
I like it. I like it. It's only funny because of his accent. We all know it.
Scallywag.
He's good though. He's good. He's funny. Um, I don't think Ilio Topuria is, or really anyone, is capable of coming out and just dominating him. However, I am starting to worry that Topuria is going to win.
Hmm.
No, I don't think I don't think there's a lot of merit. Let's break this down and
He
remove the
hasn't fought in
hype.
a long time.
Who? Ilya?
Topuria,
Who's the best person Ilya Tapuria's beaten?
probably Bryce Mitchell.
I'd say Josh
Yeah.
Emmett.
Nah, maybe Josh Emmett. Yeah,
And what would Josh Emmett do to
Bryce Mitchell.
Alexander Volkanovski? I mean, well, that also
Yeah.
he probably retired him
Yeah.
potentially. But is Josh if Josh Emmett is fighting Volkanovski, do we say that he's
Of
going to
course
win?
not. Of course not.
No, hell no.
No,
Okay.
he really has not fought anybody who is as well-rounded as Volkanovski at
No.
all.
Well, there aren't many that are as well rounded as well. It's very tough.
Yeah.
Um, so
Emmett,
then the issue becomes, and man, Volkanovski has just run through the who's who. He
yeah,
fights deep into fights,
yeah.
Volkanovski.
Hmm.
So, and Topuria is tough. I like the over, but Ryan has talked me off the ledge. I don't love it as much as I did 15 minutes ago, but I like it now.
Yeah. I mean, he beat Yair Rodriguez, who was the interim champ, so I loved him.
Yeah.
Obviously beat the brakes off of Max Holloway multiple times. Eh, Korean Zombie was washed. Not
That was like a favor
Yeah, that
to
was
Korean Zombie.
yes, very much so.
I
And
just wish the second Makhachev fight didn't happen.
So much, so much. You almost have to erase it from like being there. Um,
Yeah,
he
except he still took the head trauma.
he did. That is certainly worth considering. He survived T City, Ortega, when he was really on his game, beat the shit out of Aldo, beat the shit out of Mendez, beat the shit out of Darren Elkins.
I mean,
And
we're like we're really time traveling now. So
yeah, it's too
all
far
of
to be
that, yeah,
relevant.
all of that's like that's when Volkanovski still was trying to say that he had hair on the top of his head. So
Yeah, fair. And I mean, I think Ilya will have the speed. I think he hits hard, but I think that Alexander Volkanovski is just going to be ready. He's going to be professional. And if age is a factor for him, unlike fear,
fear is not a factor for you.
um, Joe Rogan, come on the Pretty Neat podcast. We'll ask you about fear factor instead of UFC. And I just think I think it's an outlast. I think it's an outlast, an outpoint, outgrapple, and
That's closer to a Survivor reference. What you just did.
what?
Outwit, outplay, outlast.
Oh,
Yeah,
dang, you're right.
that is a
Wow.
survivor thing.
You're welcome.
I went
I'm with you. I'm with you, Aaron. Oh, Volkanovski, what's his biggest strength? Game plan.
Cardio.
game plan. Yeah,
Game plan.
good way to put it.
Strategy.
Fear of snakes. I don't know.
Opponent's fear of snakes. Yeah, maybe. But definitely I just think he's gonna have the answers for Topuria. His team is great at game planning. He's great at playing to his strengths. I've never seen anybody outside of Makachev, right? And there's circumstances around that
Yeah,
take away his strengths.
yeah,
This has he puts on a 4.5 round clinic, reminding everyone what he is written all over it.
good
Or
callback.
or this has we've seen someone climb the mountain and Alexander had something taken from him against Makhachev written all over it. It's one of those two things.
Yeah, could be. I think if Ilya gets this done, it is exactly that. He gets it done. That he lands something magnificent in the first or second round that is just wobbly, and you've got a ref who steps in too early for a TKO that shouldn't have been stopped.
So not Herb Dean.
Not Herb Dean. I hope Herb Dean is the ref for this. If anything, let it go a little too long for him. But yeah, man, I don't. He's not going to sub him. I can't see that. So, hey, over on Fight Time. And I'm all for staying away from significant strikes and fantasy score on this. And because, uh, yeah, I just am. But I think Alexander Volkanovski gets a TKO at the end of the fourth round. That's my out there prediction on it, which Dom, you kind of agreed with at the end there.
It's the only number up there I am comfortable taking.
Yeah. All right. So we made some interesting picks for this six pick, and I kind of like it. Did I fuck one of these up? I don't
I
think
don't think
so.
so.
No, you got 6.
Yeah. Do who wants to kick off our recap of the six pick?
Oban, not the Scotch, Elliot, is going to last more than 10 minutes with Val Woodburn.
Hold on,
Amen.
that's a Japanese scotch, right?
No, I think
No?
no,
Okay.
I don't think so.
Oban Scotch whiskey.
Oban, UK,
There we go. You can tell because they don't have an E in it.
Yeah, Scotland, which is in the UK.
Very good. I'm all in on our UFC road to the UFC victor, Rinya Nakamura. And we're heralding the new age of Japanese mixed martial artists. And we think in this short notice fight bringing in the non-player character of Carlos
Yeah,
Vera,
Carlos
not
Vera.
not not Cheeto Vera, but Carlos Vera, but also
Mhm.
strangely enough from Ecuador as well. That he's going to get it done, and he's going to get it done inside of 2 rounds, and he is tied for the largest favorite at a minus 1300, which is boxing odds, friends. That's boxing
Yeah.
odds right there.
Yeah.
Wild. Who was the favorite, the other minus 1300? Was it Ronda Rousey against somebody? Who's he tied
No,
with?
I'm talking about on this card. The light heavyweight affair on the prelims, the gentleman from China is also a minus
Oh,
1300 favorite.
Mhm.
wow. Gotcha. Well, we ain't picking that one. But we are picking that Amanda Lemos will land more than 43.5 significant strikes on Mackenzie Dern.
Marab, I'll have a side of the Dvalishvili. Uh, for some reason has a headshot in this, not only on your screen but on mine as well.
Yeah.
That is much closer than it ought to be.
Yeah.
But he is going to land at least 62 significant strikes against Triple C.
Beauty.
And our favorite, our favorite nemesis, perhaps, Ian Machado Gary, he of the traveling, will travel to new gyms, voluntarily or involuntarily. Um, he of the famous WAG spouse and the center of many controversies in the MMA world of late, fighting Jeff Hands of Steel Neal. And both Aaron and I, we're calling the upset here that Jeff is going to get that done, but we also think it's going to go beyond 12 and a half minutes. And Jeff is going to shock the world, which for us, at least two of the three, not a shock.
I won't be shocked if he wins.
Not
I'm not
calling
going to
for
pick
it.
him. I think Ian's pretty good.
Yeah. And we're picking Alexander Volkanovski and still, and that he will defeat Ilia Topuria beyond the third round, 17 and a half minutes to be exact. So halfway through the fourth, this fight should be ending somewhere after that or go to decision. Probably going to be a very competitive fight, though, for sure.
So it's worth mentioning that next week's fight night is really good.
Is it? I haven't
Well,
taken a look at it.
Felipe dos Santos, you guys remember him? Isn't he the guy that fought Manel Kopp?
Yes.
Yes, at
Gonna say
Strickland
yes.
Adesanya. So he is fighting. We also have Mateus Mendonca, who I think he's blue hair guy from the Contender Series.
Oh shit, it's Moreno Royval
Uh,
too.
Raul Rosas Jr. and Ricky Turquoise. Yair Rodriguez and Brian Ortega and Brandon Moreno and Brandon Hoyval, and it's in Mexico.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
Raul.
this is the Mexico
So
City card.
should be
This
a
is
should
good.
be a fun slate.
It's gonna be a
Brandon
good
Hoyval, of course,
audience.
was just in the cage. So
Yeah. Oh man.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Brandon Moreno is going to get the bigger cheers, but
Yeah. I kind of I like this Yair Rodriguez Brian Ortega fight also. I think Yair's gonna win. Uh, Brian Ortega just really hasn't looked the same. I mean, if this goes
we
to the
haven't seen
ground,
him look good in a long time, it
it's
feels like.
fucking it's gonna be dangerous for Yair if this goes to the ground. I love the Raul Rosas Jr. versus Ricky Turquoise fight, and I think this is gonna be very interesting because Raul's got that fire still, but Ricky Turquoise,
Didn't he lose
he's
the
it.
last time we saw him?
I believe he did, but he did win tough, which is still fucking hard to do.
No.
Um,
I'm talking about Rosas Jr.
oh, Rosas Jr. No, he didn't lose, did
No,
he?
he won. Prior to
Just
that, he
barely.
lost.
Ah, gotcha. Yeah. Yes, he lost to somebody Rodriguez, which he, hey, you learn. And he got a knockout over Mitchell, which was somewhat surprising because he's more of a submission guy. You're right. This is a pretty fun one. Nice. Christian Quinones and Hani Bocellos. That's a good one. Yeah, this is going to be a fun fight. Oh, Claudio Puelles versus Faraz Siam. That's a great one. Yeah, there's damn.
Yeah,
I
there's
look
some good
forward to
fights on this
this.
one.
I look forward to this one. And Eric Silva's fighting a Yeti.
Eric Silva's hair should not be allowed.
I agree. For some reason, I didn't realize that there was a fight night in between this and 299. There's
There's two fight
two.
nights, yeah.
Oh wow, gonna build it up. And
Rosenstruik and Gaziev. I don't know who Gaziev is. Shamil Shabazel something something incorporated.
Dang, you read my mind.
Fuck yeah. What show is that though? Help me.
Laverne and Shirley.
Laverne and Shirley. Hell yeah.
uh, Umar's on a fight night. Ooh, Matt Schnell and Steve Ursig. That is a good fight. My gosh. Getting spoiled. That's around the time of my B day.
Hell
Uh,
yeah.
It's in the middle of the week, so I
What
get,
is
huh?
nothing. Sorry.
I view UFC 299 as a birthday present from Dana directly, by the way.
You
It's a
do?
Thank you, Dana.
it's a late birthday present, but I'm gonna be so tired during that card because I'm gonna be that's South by Southwest here in Austin, and I'll be working, doing my podcasting stuff with contracts, and gonna be recording for like 6 or 7 hours that Saturday, most likely. So I'll probably be listening to footage when I get home and watching the fights. I'll probably catch in probably mid prelims.
You're talking about 299?
299, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But damn. Oh, we're gonna
What
have
is that the
fun.
ninth?
Yes.
Yeah, that is the last day of my 75 hard. I
Nice.
was going to pitch to Ryan that we go to America's Crossroads in the theater, but that doesn't work if you can't drink everything and eat everything. So
No. But you can live like Tai Tuivasa and do it the next weekend.
I'm not gonna do that. It's gonna be pretty controlled still. Man, 299 is a good card.
Yeah, it is.
Oh boy. Um, but I
Yeah.
am going to the Laker game on the 10th, so that'll be fun.
Heck yeah. I do have a bottle of whiskey. I was gonna
Ooh.
get two to mail you each one, but I only managed to get the one. I am still going to mail it to one of you under the hope that you would have drinks together after your 75 hard is done.
I think we can do that.
Totally acceptable. Um, any excuse to get my brothers in arms, my brothers in arm tattoos uh together would be lovely for me. So I'll pick one of you at random and
You've got to come out here and join us at America's Crossroads.
that would be so fun. And maybe we'll pick a card towards the latter part of the summer or beginning of summer. Maybe fight week. I'll try and see what's going on there.
300, huh?
Uh no, I'm thinking end of
Oh,
June.
sorry, fight week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
thinking
yeah.
International Fight Week, probably the return of
Hmm.
Islam or one of those Kamzat will come back or something after Ramadan. So I'm thinking maybe I'll shoot for late June. We'll see. Are there any cards posted for late June already for Fight Week?
Not that I'm aware of. I
Yeah.
mean, International Fight Week, is like there, but I don't know if we have anything more than that.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be fun. Gentlemen, enjoyed this episode. It was great to get back on with you guys.
What was the best 90s sitcom? Let's take it out on this one.
Uh,
Laverne and Shirley, which premiered in 1976, got me thinking about it.
best 90s sitcom?
Hmm.
Home Improvement,
No,
Ooh,
News Radio,
no,
Joe Rogan, come on the Pretty Neat podcast.
the Boy Meets World.
no.
Is there a correct answer here, or are you
I
just
don't know. I'm
asking us
asking. I just
opinions?
know that it's not those ones.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
That's up there.
Ooh,
It's up there.
that is way up there.
That was that. That's a phenomenal show.
Fresh Prince. You really
Let's
don't
see.
think Home Improvement?
Not a
Home
fan.
Improvement's good,
Okay,
but
so this
it's not better than Fresh Prince.
this
No.
list is fucking bullshit. So IMDb
Oh
has
no.
Seinfeld number one. Not a fan, and you guys could probably guess number two based on
Friends.
Friends.
Friends. Friends is dog shit, and we all know it. It's not funny, and I don't like it. Frasier 3, Home Improvement 4, Roseanne, Full House, Married with Children, Fresh Prince, Family Matters also good, Murphy Brown, The Wonder Years, Everybody Loves Raymond, Mad About You, The Nanny, Step by Step, Boy Meets World 16, good for you, Boy Meets World, then News Radio,
Hmm.
Ellen, Martin, and Coach round out the top 20.
I I get you had one in the top three, I think it was. What were
No,
the top three?
I did not.
What
Me?
were they?
Oh,
Seinfeld,
Seinfeld, Friends,
Friends,
and Home Improvement. Oh,
What
Frasier.
was Frasier? I
Frasier.
can see Frasier being in there. I loved Frasier. And
What
so
about
did my
that 70s show?
was that in
Did we
the
say that?
90s?
It was later.
I think that was in the
Late
2000s.
90s, premiered in
I've
1998.
I've never seen an episode of that. Hanging with Mr. Cooper rounds out the top 30. I
Mr.
do
Coop.
I do agree. Mark Curry, very funny guy.
Family Matters.
Blossom.
Man,
Family Matters is good.
Steve
Sabrina, the
Urkel.
Teenage Witch.
Ugh, another solid
96, yeah.
one. Ferguson, that fuck.
Ferguson.
Yeah, it's like her neighbor that bothers him.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The guy that's not banging her or whatever.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
the
Third Rock from
eternal.
the
Yeah.
Sun. Remember Third Rock from the Sun?
Oh,
Of course.
third
That was
rock from the
96.
dude, John Lithgow at his finest. And isn't that young Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
God
It
damn.
is.
They
Young
did
Levitt.
163 episodes of Sabrina.
Damn.
Ferguson? Why don't I see a guy named Ferguson on the like I'm looking at the main cast. He's not on here.
Really?
Yeah,
Like as Ferguson?
not that I see.
This bothers me.
The cat had a cool name, Salem.
Salem the Cat, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
What
I
about
had,
Beavis and Butthead? That was in the 90s.
can that
The
count as a
Simpsons
sitcom?
is on here as number 29. I kind of don't think it counts as a sitcom.
Yeah,
Living Single and the Larry Sanders Show.
I feel like sitcom has the live audience element, usually Family
Okay.
Matters, which Family Matters is a show.
I thought that sitcom for the longest time meant that you sit down to watch a comedy. But no, it's situational comedy.
Situational comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't make shows like that anymore, you guys.
They sure don't.
Really?
Moesha?
Moesha,
You
sister,
remember that
sister.
with
Yeah.
Brandy?
Oh,
Did
Sister,
they?
Sister. I had a total crush on both of them.
Will and Grace?
Did you?
Yeah.
So
Tia and Tamara.
my sister's name is Tia, and growing up, her best friend's name, you guessed it.
Tamara?
Tamara?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yep.
Keenan and Kel?
Keenan and Kel, not bad. Not bad.
Hmm. I was a big All That fan.
Were you guys
Yeah.
into Seventh Heaven?
Are You Afraid of the
Uh,
Dark?
Are You Afraid of the Dark is good.
Seventh Heaven, never. I watched it a couple times, mostly
Yeah.
because I was crushing on
But
Jessica
that's
Biel.
Yeah, hell
I
yeah.
always thought the other one was hotter.
Oh,
Oh, the
you're
other
that-
sister?
yeah.
Beverly
At the
Mitchell. Now
time?
that take has not aged well.
Nope, it definitely hasn't.
But
Dude, can you believe
yeah.
Justin Timberlake stepping out on Jessica Biel?
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's sad.
It
They're
is
still
sad.
together though, right?
Maybe they're in the process of not being together.
Oh, really?
Have you
See,
watched?
So here's the thing though, Beverly Mitchell. You know what? No, I'm taking it back. I stand by it.
Is she
Well-
still a stunner?
Sometimes. Just depends on the picture of her, which is the issue. Jessica Biel is like a
She's an all-timer.
yeah.
Beverly Mitchell has that um
Is
that
Jessica
girl
Biel,
next
though?
door plausible hotness.
Yes. No, I don't think I think they're still together, her and Timberlake.
Here's some current sitcoms.
Hmm.
Since we weren't able to think of any immediately, we'll kind of be mad at ourselves really quick. Curb Your Enthusiasm, Arrested Development, Community.
But those last two are not current,
I guess not anymore. Have you watched
and
any of Frasier since it came back?
no,
I haven't
no,
either.
no.
They have South Park listed as a situational comedy.
Yeah.
Huh. Wow, we went off on a thing here.
Come for the MMA talks. Stay for the 90s sitcom discussion.
That is the Pretty Neat podcast.
You know what? Time wasn't great to the youngest sister either, who is only a year or so younger than me from Seventh Heaven.
And didn't the
You
dad
know,
go to get
Wasn't
arrested?
he like a
Yeah.
Or
pedophile or something?
Yeah.
he was a bad man.
What's his name? Something
Stephen Collins.
Steve. I was gonna say Eric Collins, but I think his name on the show was Eric.
Oh, geez. And the
Stephen
youngest,
Collins.
the way younger sister,
That's who I'm talking about.
Mackenzie Rosman.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time on the show, wasn't she like 8 or something on the show?
Yeah, that's why I said time hasn't been kind to her. I'm not talking about her when she was an 8-year-old.
You don't think so? I think she's gorgeous.
Really?
Yeah,
All right.
very. Anyway, you know,
He was
time
born
wasn't
in
kind to.
1947. Good Lord.
Yeah. Oh, Barry Watson too, the brother. He ended up in
Yeah.
legal trouble also.
Sure. And then there was another brother too.
Yeah, David
Um,
Gallagher,
Yeah, there you go.
best
How's he
known.
doing?
I mean, he looks like how you'd expect him to age.
Yeah.
Um, honestly,
Oh, yeah.
his best role since Seventh Heaven was Super 8 as the stoner brother. Good movie.
Okay.
That is a good movie.
You want to
He-
watch that?
Yeah. No. No,
Yeah,
not
no.
into this.
Yeah, no.
He went to USC though. Good for him.
Yeah.
Hillary Duff, her sister, was on the show. Haley.
And that's so many weird 90s shows. I'm gonna like go in and be like, what am I gonna watch while I have some more food?
Hillary Duff.
Ugh.
Very, very much on the list.
Dom logged out early, 2024.
Straight up.
Hey, you know why I love MMA so much? It's pretty neat. That is 100% true, but it's also because it brings us together. You know what? Violence really does bring people together. Yes, let's get